All right, now we're going to convert an equation from standard form, which is right down here, y equals x squared plus 4x minus 3, into vertex form, which is y is equal to a times x minus h squared plus v. This really helps us visualize the graph. It doesn't give us the zeros, but it will give us the center point, and it'll tell us if there's a minimum or maximum value. So the formula to do that is the opposite of b over 2a to find the h. Then you substitute that value back into the function. That's what this means, and you can get the v, or the min slash max height. So first thing you need to do is you need to identify what a, b, and c is. So right down here, there's nothing in front of the x squared. The a is the coefficient of our quadratic term, which is, there's nothing there, so it's a 1. The b is the coefficient of our linear term that's next to the x, so b is 4. And the c is going to be the constant, and that's -3. Now, notice that this is nice and it's in order, but you might not have a b. You might have just a c. So how would you know? Well, if there was no plus 4x, the -3 would still be the c, because there's no x next to it. You might have no c. So if there's just a linear term, there's no constant, you would just have a and b. Alright, so now that we know what a, b, and c is, let's plug it into our formula. The opposite of b, so the opposite of 4 is -4, over double a, and a is 1, so I'm going to double that, and that's 2. So my axis of symmetry is -2. Alright, x equals -2. So now that I know that my h is -2, I'm just going to go over here and write this as like my final answer. The vertex has to have -2 in it. That says, okay, at -2, what is my v value? So let's plug that in. So you got to be very careful here. I always like to start by simply taking the x's out and putting them in parentheses. And now I'm going to take that -2 and I'm going to plug it into the parentheses. And the reason why I do this is so that I don't make a mistake with the information I'm plugging in here. You don't want to forget any of these steps. You're multiplying the -2, for instance, on the linear term by 4. Okay, so now that I've got this, I'm going to square -2. And I'm going to add 4 times -2 is -8. And then the -3, nothing happens to him. He's still part of it. 4 minus 8 is -4. -3, I have a value of -7 for my v. Okay, so now that I've got my vertex and I've got all the information that I need, I even have my a, I can finally plug it into this formula right here. So y is equal to, my a has to be 1, so I can either put a 1 here or I can put nothing. It's implied. Parentheses, x minus, my h is -2, so it becomes a plus 2 squared. And then I've got a -7 at the very end. And there you have it. So what this tells us is you go left 2, down 7. We would have a vertex, and he's a happy face, so he's going like this. And he has a minimum value at -7.